Hello, today we shall see the Comber mechanism part 2, under which we will see the feed roller drive. So coming to the feed roller drive, based on the timing of feed, there are two types of feed, that is one is forward and one is backward feed. Backward feed means that the feeding of the lap sheet occurs during the backward movement of the nippers. So let us just again go through the video and see what kind of feed is shown in this particular animation. Carefully look at the feed roller movement and when it is happening, whether it is happening when the nippers are moving forward or whether it is happening when the nippers are moving backward.
The measured lap that has been fed out and held fast. The fibers that are not held fast are removed by the half lap and collected as waste. These short fibers may be recycled and used elsewhere in a less critical yarn.
So in this particular video we saw that the feed roller rotates when the nipper assembly is moving towards the back or in the backward direction. So this kind of a feed would be a backward feed. Then what is forward feed? The feeding of the lap sheet, if it occurs when the nippers are moving forward towards the detaching roller, then that kind of feed would be called as a forward feed. So having understood these two types of feed, let us just compare the two and what it really means having a forward or a backward feed. The type of feed decides the boundary length, that is the fiber length above and below which the fiber shall either go into sliver or into the knowle. So in case of backward feed, this is the sequence of events that is happening. First the cylinder will comb, then the detachment will happen. That means the tuft is taken towards the detaching roller and it is given to the detaching roller, and the whole nipper assembly will start moving backwards. After detachment, when the nippers move backwards, that is when the lap will be fed. And after lap feeding, again the cylinder combing will take place. So this happens in a cyclical manner, but this is the sequence of events in case of backward feed. So during backward feed, after cylinder combing, the tuft is taken to the detaching roller for detachment, after which the feeding takes place. The nippers close after feed and the combing takes place. Now let us see what is the sequence of events in the forward feed. In this case, again, if we were to begin from cylinder combing, after cylinder combing is done, the lap is fed and the nippers start moving forward when the nippers are moving forward. So after this, once the lap is fed, the nippers move forward and pass on the tuft to the detaching rollers, which is known as detachment. And after detachment, again the same cycle will begin, wherein cylinder combing happens and this continues. So if you see, compare the two sequences, they are slightly different in nature, and we shall see in depth in the coming slides how these two affect the knowle percentage. During forward feed, the combing has already taken place. That means in this case, the combing has already taken place, and then the feeding is done. After which the nippers take the tuft to the detaching roller for detachment. The nippers are open during detachment. So, having seen, say, on a superficial level, what is a backward and forward feed, let us go a little bit into detail how this actually works. So let us analyze this entire situation with the help of a Beer-Soto diagram. But to understand this theory, we will use a simplistic view of the Beer-Soto diagram in the form of a triangle, something like this. And let us say that E is the closest distance between the nipper assembly and the detaching roller nip. That is when the nippers move to the forwardmost position towards the detaching roller. Let us say the closest distance that it achieves is E, and this distance is also known as detachment setting. So in the form of a diagram, we could represent it like this. The material is moving from left to right. A here is the detaching rollers that are shown, and Z is the top nipper and the bottom nipper, which is shown here. And imagine that this particular nipper assembly has come closest to the detaching roller. Now it is in the forwardmost position, and the distance between the nipper grip and the detaching roller nip would be E, which is shown here. Let us also say that let S be the length fed by the feed roller per cycle of combing. In each of the forward and backward feed, one has to analyze two conditions that affect the inclusion of fiber in the sliver or the knot. There are two things which decide whether any particular fiber will go into the sliver or whether it will go into the knot. So the two situations that one needs to analyze is the first one is during detachment and the second one is during combing. So in case of forward feed, the diagram we have just repeated over here. First the combing takes place, then the detachment, and then the feed. So with this in mind, let us see how this actually works. In backward feed, since the freshly combed tuft is directly presented to the detaching roller. So in backward feed, we have just seen that there is the lap fed is later on. So cylinder combing happens, and this particular tuft is directly fed to the detaching roller. So therefore, the fibers that are longer than the detachment setting E, we have seen that the detachment setting is E. Only those fibers which are longer than E will be able to reach the detaching roller grip, and they will surely enter the sliver. And those fibers which are below this length E shall definitely land up in the knot. So this is the analysis if we see the sequence of events, and if E is the detachment setting, that we have assumed. After detachment, the nippers will open. After detachment happens over here, the nippers will open and they will be moving backwards. The feeding of the lap begins at this point of time when the nippers are moving backward. After feeding stops, the nippers close, and after nippers will close again, the length of the fibers in front of the nippers would now be E plus S, because S is the length of feed that we have assumed. So whatever fibers are projecting out of the nipper grip, they would be of length E plus S. Now the cylinder combing begins, because after lap feed the cylinder has to comb begins. The cylinder combing will begin, and the fibers that are longer than E plus S shall be definitely going into the sliver, and those shorter than E plus S shall definitely land up in the knot. So in this particular slide we have seen two situations. One is what is happening during detachment, where the border length is E, and in case of during cylinder combing, the border length is E plus S. So let us go further and see the Bayer sorter in case of a backward feed. So let us represent the condition of the fibers in both the two situations, that is during detachment. That is during detachment, we have seen that fibers above E shall go into the sliver. So this would be the way the Bayer sorter would look. This is the length E that has been represented over here, which is a detachment setting. And below this, whatever fibers are there will go into knot, and above this, whatever fibers are there will go into sliver. Simultaneously, after this, what is happening is during combing, this would be the situation where we saw that the fibers above E plus S shall be going into sliver. That means this is the region that will go into sliver for sure, and this is the region representing the fibers that will definitely go into the knot. So now if you were to superimpose or rather see these two lengths here, there is a portion of the fibers between E plus S here and E here, um, that would go into the sliver or into the knot depending on their positions during detaching and combing that takes place thereafter. So during detaching and combing, whatever the fibers of this particular length, which is in between these two lengths, whatever position they take, depending on that, either it will go into the sliver or it might go into the knot. So we are not sure of whether such fibers will be in the sliver or in the knot. So let us analyze this a little bit further. The same diagram has been represented here where E is shown and E plus S. We are not sure whether the shaded portion that is shown here, the fibers in this region, whether they will go in sliver or whether they will go in Noyle. So the various lengths are labeled in the diagram. It has been labeled, the entire thing. And let us assume that E plus S by 2, that is this is the average of the uncertain area, that is it is the average of the area in between these two. So let us assume that this is the border line length below which all fibers would go into Noyle and above which with all would go into the sliver. So we take an average length since the fiber length falling in this region may end up in sliver or in Noyle depending upon their position during detachment and during the subsequent combing. So now if you look at the labeling that is done, AOPC, that is A, O, P and C represent the fibers going into the sliver, and OBP represent the fibers going into the Noyle. So with this, let us see what is a formula for Noyle percentage. Noyle percentage is equal to Noyle upon feed multiplied by 100. So that's equal to OBP divided by ABC. That is OBP is the fibers that is Noyle, which is going into the Noyle, and ABC is the total fibers that is there. So this divided by this multiplied by 100 would give me Noyle percentage. Now going further and analyzing the triangles here, in similar triangles, we know this theory, the areas are in the same ratio as the squares of the sides. So since this is representing areas which is shown in the diagram here, I will substitute it with the ratio of the squares of the side. So with this particular OBP, I can say that OP, that is OP is the this side square divided by AC square, since both these triangles are similar, multiply by 100. Now OP square is nothing but E plus S by 2 the whole square, and AC is the maximum length, or that is AC, which is shown here, M square multiplied by 100. So this would be our final formula for Noyle percentage in case of backward feed. So having seen backward feed, let us see forward feed. Again, in forward feed, the sequence is something like this. The cylinder will comb, then lap feed happens. The lap is fed when the nippers are moving forward, and after that the detachment takes place. So in case of forward feed, feeding of S length takes place and the detachment takes place after feeding. The fibers that are shorter than E by a length S are also pushed towards the detaching roller grip and will go into the sliver. Since lap feeding is happening before detachment, we observe that whatever fibers are fiber length is coming out of the nippers, they will help to push those even shorter fibers which are shorter than E towards the detaching roller grip, and therefore fibers which are shorter than E by an extent of E minus S, all these fibers will land up in the sliver. Therefore fibers longer than E minus S shall surely go into the sliver, and those fibers of length below E minus S shall surely enter the Noyle. So this is the situation during detachment. After detachment, since there is no feeding before the next combing cycle, the fibers are presented to the cylinder. The fiber length in front of the nipper grip shall be E, because that is our detachment setting. As the nippers are moving backwards, uh, and this particular E is the fiber length projecting out of the nipper grip. Now the cylinder combing begins, and the fibers that are longer than E shall be definitely going into the sliver, and those shorter than E shall surely land up in the Noyle. So just like earlier, let us represent this condition of the fibers in both the two situations, that is during detachment as in this manner. Fibers above E minus S shall go into the sliver, and fibers below E minus S will go into the Noyle. And during combing, this would be the situation where fibers above E shall go into the sliver and below E would go into the Noyle. So there is a portion of fibers between E minus S and E, just like before. which this region we do not know whatever fiber lengths are lying in between these two lengths. We are not sure whether they would land up in sliver or whether it will land up in Noil. So these fibers can go either ways depending on their position during detachment and combing. So representing just like before, the forward feed bears out a diagram in this manner and taking an average of this particular uncertain area, which is shown in this label diagram. E minus S by 2 is the average of the uncertain area between E minus S and E. We take an average length since the fiber length falling in this region may end up in sliver or in Noil depending on their position during detachment and during the subsequent combing. AOPC, that is AOPC, this particular trapezium represents the fibers going into the sliver, and OBP, O, B and P is a triangle which represents the Noil. So just like before, Noil percentage is equal to Noil upon feed into 100, which is OBP, the area for Noil divided by ABC, which is the entire amount of fibers that is shown here, multiplied by 100. Just like before, in similar triangles, the areas are in the same ratio as the squares of the sides. So it will be OP square divided by AC square. But in this case now, OP is nothing but E minus S by 2, the whole square divided by M square into 100. So this is your final formula for Noil percentage in case of forward feed. So Noil percentage, if we were to compare between forward and backward feed, from the above discussion it is clear that the Noil extracted is more than the Noil extracted in case of forward feed. Noil extracted is more in case of backward feed. That word needs to be added here. Forward feed shall allow fibers, as we see that it will allow fibers that are shorter than the detachment setting into the sliver, which is E minus S. So backward feed therefore gives a better quality of combing as compared to the forward feed, but this difference is hardly noticeable in modern high performance combers. Forward feed is chosen for high production modern combers, both when upgrading is needed, that is when you need to have just a little bit of upgrading, quality requirements are not too rigorous, and Noil percentage up to 12. In that case, we would go for forward feed. And forward feed is also chosen in case of situations where we extract normal Noil levels, that is 8 to 18%. But when there are higher demands on quality, backward feed is used, where the Noil percentage would be to the extent of 12 to 25% levels. So having seen this, let us see how the feed roller is driven. There is no direct drive to the feed roller. It is indirectly driven by the opening of the nippers. Last time we have seen how the nippers are functioning. So the nippers open when the nipper assembly moves forward towards the detaching rollers in the case of forward feed. Therefore, if the feed was to take place, that is, the feed rollers would rotate along with the opening of the nippers, it would be a forward feed. So, in the case of forward feed, as the nipper entire assembly moves forward towards the detaching roller, the nippers are opening, and simultaneously, along with the opening of the rollers, the feed would take place. Rotation of the feed rollers to feed the lap sheet forward by 4.3 to 6.7 mm due to the movement of the upper nipper. Normally around this amount, this length of feed is being done, which is 4.3 to 6.7 mm, as soon as the upper nipper opens or during the movement of the upper nipper. So, and that is done majorly by a ratchet and a pawl mechanism. So in case of forward feed, when the nipper plate is opened, it rotates the roller or the feed roller through a ratchet by withdrawing the pawl secured to the upper nipper. The pawl is secured to the upper nipper, so when the upper nipper will open, during that time the pawl is actuated and this will rotate the ratchet which is mounted on the feed roller, and because this ratchet will be pulled in this direction during the opening of the nipper, the feed is done by the rotation of the feed roller. The change wheels can be replaced. These change wheels, for example, the ratchet can be replaced to adjust the type of feed. Suppose we want to change it from forward to backward. There are rather wheels available which can be replaced easily, and type of feed can be changed, and also the length of feed per cycle can be changed by the simple change of change wheels. So after having seen the drive, we come to the end of the lecture today, where we have seen the feeding mechanism as well as the type of feed in detail. So thank you.